Well, good day. So today we got WWE SmackDown happening. And I thought to myself, Suber, you know what we should do? We should talk about some old wrestling cartoons. And if I say I'm gonna do it, then I'm gonna do it. So let's get right to it. So, alright, let's go. Okay, brother. In the second story, Hulk Hogan, Wendy Richter, and Captain Lou Albano meet up with Lou's uncle, Franco Albano. He's this wild, amazing inventor, and he claims to have invented a time machine. So the Hulkster is totally checking out this machine. He steps in the door to look around inside, and he accidentally hits his head on the top frame of the door, even though it clearly showed there was at least 2 feet of clearance. But we'll just forget that continuity part that just happened 2 seconds earlier and agree that he hit his head on the top frame of the door, which, physics be damned, when you thrust upwards and hit your head, the natural cause is that you fly forward like 10 feet, which Hulkster did, and he activated the time machine. Holy jeez, right? So where did he wind up, right? Well, so he wound up in Sherwood Forest in England, and he's dressed up as Robin Hulk. And of course, you know, his merry men, or I'm sorry, his merry wrestlers. Oh my god. Of course, there's Andre the Giant, who is not Little John, but Little Andre, and Junkyard Dog is stepping into the role of Friar Tuck as Friar Dog. So they're just hanging out. We meet up with the villain of the episode, the Sheik of Nottingham. Oh my god. The Sheik of Nottingham wants to marry Maid Wendy, so he attempts a kidnapping on her. He almost gets away with it, but Maid Wendy's brother, Lou, and the Merry Wrestlers kinda stop that attempt, so we're all good. Later on in that day, Sir Piper and Sir Stud attempt a second kidnapping. Lou Albano somehow, in the most stupid way, somehow gets a dress on him. He was holding laundry and fell down, and that makes a dress cover his body because, again, physics. So he's mistaken for Maid Wendy, has a sack over him, and is kidnapped for the wedding. Oh my god, my head is starting to hurt. So Hulk and his merry wrestlers, they get a wedding invitation from the Sheik just to rub it in that he's gonna be marrying Maid Wendy. Mr. Fuji will be officiating the wedding ceremony, and the entire time during the ceremony, they never take the kidnapping sack off of Captain Lou, and the Sheik of Nottingham marries Captain Lou. Only until after they're pronounced man and wife does he take the kidnapping sack off, and we find out it's actually Mean Gene Okerlund. Hulk Hogan kinda comes to and wakes up in Uncle Franco's lab. He's like, wow, that time machine is awesome, but it was actually just a dream because he was just knocked out and possibly severely concussed from hitting his head on the door frame. Because that's not a time travel machine, it's just a giant clock. Oh my god. And with that, that is where this, fantastic story ends. So it's pretty awesome to see a bunch of these old characters, at least in cartoon form, that I haven't seen in a long time. So that was pretty awesome. And I gots to tell you, man, when I was just a wee little Suber, man, I was all in on this golden era age of wrestling. I even remember being all in on this cartoon. So now watching it as an adult, it's kind of hard to kind of be like, wow. There are some old cartoons that are still written very well that can kind of, you know, be entertaining enough today, but this one, well, it is entertaining, but probably for all the wrong reasons. You're just watching stuff happen and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing it. It's so ridiculous. I guess that's the point. And that was the point of wrestling in the 80s. It was so grandiose, so over the top, that it just worked so well, and it could really only work in the 80s and possibly early 90s. Even like Hulk Hogan's theme song, I'm a real American, fighting for the rights of every man, fight for what's right, fight for your life. Are you really fighting for your life, or are you just wrestling? And even as a kid, man, I tells you, like, I was more devastated to find out that wrestling was scripted than I was to find out that Santa Claus was my parents. You know? But still, you know, like, oh, it is kind of fun and kind of fun to check out some of this old stuff. Just wish this cartoon was a bit better. But, you know, wrestling cartoons did get better. What do I mean? Well, let's talk a bit more about the episode and we'll get to some more kind of wrestling cartoons and stuff. Ooh, yeah! So this show, much like a lot of cartoons in the 80s, had a really big cast, but per episode you'd only see a couple of characters at a time. But all in all, throughout the whole series, you would have a bunch of of awesome wrestlers being represented here. Of course, for the good guys, the baby faces, you would have the leader, Hulk Hogan, also with Junkyard Dog, Captain Lou Albano, Andre the Giant, Wendy Richter, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Hillbilly Jim, and Tito Santana. Like a pretty good lineup. For the heels, the leader was Rowdy Roddy Piper, aka the greatest wrestling villain of all time, and some other great heels too, like Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, the Fabulous Moolah, Big John Studd, and Mr. Fuji. You would also see the legendary Mean Gene Okerlund quite a few times too, and sometimes Bobby the Brain Heenan. And you're probably thinking, man, that's a great lineup of wrestlers from back in the day. But you know, there's a whole bunch of other wrestlers I can think of that are not in this show. What the hell? You know, guys like, let's say, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Jake the Snake Roberts, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, King Kong Bundy, Bret Hart, and of course the legendary Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh yeah! Well, you see, the show was first aired in 1985, which means it was being produced in like 1983, 84, and a lot of these soon-to-be legends just joined WWF in 1985, so they really weren't that known yet, or they were just too late to be part of the show. In the show, there were some live action segments where the wrestlers did do some quick little scenes, and it was pretty awesome. Like in the featured episode, Andre the Giant went fishing, didn't use a rod and reel, he just yelled at the fish to come out of the lake. That is so awesome. Or Rowdy Roddy Piper helping a woman out with her broken down car. And you know, being a jerk the whole time because that's just who his character is. The wrestlers did not, however, voice their own characters. They had different voice actors coming in to do that. The most notable ones would be, let's say, for Hulk Hogan, he was voiced by Brad Garrett, who was probably most famous for his role in Everybody Loves Raymond. And of course, Junkyard Dog was voiced by James Avery. You remember him very fondly as the much-loved Uncle Phil in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And of course, the voice of Shredder from Ninja Turtles. Like, you might be thinking, why is the show called Rockin' Wrestling? What's the rock aspect of it? Well, back in the day, you see, wrestling was really territorial. It wasn't the big worldwide kind of phenomenon that we have nowadays with the WWE. Each region had their own wrestling kind of territory, but the then known WWF, they really wanted to break out and like really capture a lot of attention around the country and, well, around the world. So they teamed up with like MTV Generation and really tried to cross promote the show. You had talent like Cyndi Lauper, who had a lot of wrestlers in her videos. Obviously, Girls Just Want to Have Fun had Captain Lou. The song The Goonies Are Good Enough had a bunch of wrestlers as well, and her song She Bop was Wendy Richter's intro music. That really helped to get the new generation of wrestling fans into this big wrestling conglomerate. Another thing they did was, well, create this cartoon. I think all in all, the cross-marketing was pretty smart and worked obviously well, man. You didn't see a whole lot of WWF or WWE wrestling cartoons up until the new millennia. WWE did a quick crossover with Scooby-Doo and had two animated features, 2014 WrestleMania Mystery and 2016 The Curse of the Speed Demon, where the wrestlers voiced their own characters. So pretty awesome. In 2015, the Flintstones did a crossover with Stone Age SmackDown. That one was so damn charming. Even in 2017, you had the Jetsons with Robo WrestleMania. Oh man, so good. And that stuff was so awesome and it was so good to see, and I will be getting to those videos later. I just didn't have time this week. But other than that, that's that. Right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video. And if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, you know, feel free to do so. Or anything else, you know, just to say hi. That's cool too. And other than that, you know, have a great day. Thanks.